just as a note for everybody listening, we fact check all of our stuff with the internet that we got the stuff off of.
Yeah.
So it's doubly fact checked, doubly true. Everything we say is 100% completely accurate.
The disclaimer again. Politics. Yeah.
All right, forget it.
This
Yeah.
thing is one giant edit.
Trump-
I'm just going to take our words.
Okay, right. So since our first podcast, which no one has heard yet except for us, because we lived it, boy. It was good. All right. So welcome once again to the Good Man Alive podcast. And if you want to be entertained by two sons and their dad talk smack and laugh about random things that interest them, then you are in the right place. However, if you're searching for deep intellectual wisdom, as always, by men who take life too seriously, then why are you here? That's boring. Okay, so last time we tried out the format where we each brought a different subject. Today's format is even looser than that because two of y'all didn't bring jack.
Well, I got something now.
And we've got,
okay.
yeah, Dad spent 5 minutes on ChatGPT asking questions, so he's got content.
Dang right.
All right. I printed some stuff out from the intranets,
And my bro printed me something out from the intranet.
and I had some, had an extra piece of paper from my bro.
Printed from the internet.
It's been a long week.
So if you can't tell already, this is our America podcast. Yeah, these colors don't run, boys.
Don't run.
That will be released between now and the 4th of July. And now is Flag Day. It's actually Flag Day today.
That's right.
And Donald Trump's birthday, right?
Yeah,
Donald
it is. And
Trump.
it's
Hey.
the celebration of the Army's 250th.
Apparently it's like
Birthday.
national
This is it.
rising up again.
And if you're
No,
really
it's
into
No
it, you'll be
King's
out in the
Day.
streets protesting for Palestine and Gaza.
Well, it's No King's Day, right? Is that what they
That's
call
right.
it?
No King's Day. Yes. Yes.
No King's Day.
Well, they don't know my savior.
What is No King's Day? What's it
Well,
for?
they're saying they're trying, think about Trump.
No
He's a king.
King's
He's
Day.
acting like a king, which is interesting because part of my trivia today references that.
Get closer to your mic, Pop.
Thank you.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, Dad. Well, we'll let you go first since our format is loose and fast.
Well, just to reference what you were just talking about, when
Yeah.
Washington was getting ready to be elected president, one of the other founding fathers, John Adams, said, "We need to come up with a title for you," and he wanted to use His Majesty. And Washington's like, nah. He did not want to be of that level of, because he was working for the people. He just freed the colonies from British tyranny and all that fun stuff. But he did not want to be looked at in that regard. He was a very humble leader. But here's what I'm going to be talking about. Some of the myths of July 4th that you just know or you didn't know. Number one, the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776. Did you know that? It was not. Matter of fact, it was adopted by the Continental Congress on July 4th, but most delegates signed it on August 2nd, 1776.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't know that, did you? Did you know July 4th has always been a major holiday? Wrong again. It wasn't a major holiday
they
until
signed the Declaration of Independence.
On July 4th.
No, until 1870. It did not.
The
become-
true date of my America's birth, boy.
Hey, let me tell you another piece of trivia. We was in Vicksburg.
Vicksburg and the Vicksburg.
You know, Vicksburg was the big turning.
Name that movie, you win a free T-shirt.
Boom,
Just kidding.
win a
It's
bag
a
of
lie,
coffee.
just like the birth of the nation.
Excuse
No, I'll
me.
actually give you a
signing
bag
of
of
the-
coffee.
Was I not being the one that was talking?
Go ahead.
I'll
Thank
give
you.
you a free bag of coffee if you can name that movie.
Okay. So Vicksburg.
In the Pittsburgh.
Vicksburg.
Hey, Lincoln said Vicksburg's the key, and we're not going to have victory until that key is in our pocket. That tells you something about how important Vicksburg
And
was.
how small Pittsburgh is.
No,
Or how big
Vicksburg.
his pocket was.
we're going to ever get through this thing. I don't know.
keep going.
All right. Now, I completely lost my train of thought of what Vicksburg was all about.
It's
so.
going to be in my pocket. We need this thing to be in our pocket.
Yes.
No, I was going to tell you, they did not celebrate July 4th in Vicksburg for 70 years.
Bunch of liberals.
Why? Because they didn't want to be putting anybody.
Because that was the Confederate stronghold that got defeated, and they signed the surrender on July 4th.
South will rise again.
Bam.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah. Okay.
Ain't all them no bad now.
Okay, now here's
some on
something
both
you didn't
sides that
know.
are real good.
All 13 colonies were united on July 4th. And another wrong one. Matter of fact, New York abstained from the July 2nd vote and didn't officially approve the independence until July 9th.
Crazy.
This sounds like America.
Matter of fact,
We haven't
I think
changed
it was
much.
John Adams that said we need to celebrate with pomp and majesty and fireworks and everything July 3rd.
Was he like?
So it ended up being July 4th.
You said
So,
John Adams?
John Adams, yeah.
Was he gay?
No. No.
I was just
You
wondering.
might wanted to take that one off.
Well, I can't.
John,
That was a
I didn't
legitimate.
there
say
was
it.
no gay founding fathers.
Well, if you use the terms pomp,
Yeah.
pumps and circumstance.
Pomp.
and and streamers
Okay.
and fireworks and a big
Okay,
explosion.
this is getting way off.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
They held a big party on July 4th. Nope. It was just a serious, intense day.
Wait,
All the founding-
wait.
That was it?
Serious, intense day.
Yes, it
Like
wasn't
what?
like,
Did they,
there was no big party on July 4th.
They just sat
Remember,
around
they
and
all
looked
got
at
it
each other
signed on
just
August 2nd.
seriously and intent. Like we're not talking about
All right,
anything.
look, people are going to quit.
They
They're going to
didn't
turn this thing
celebrate it.
off if you don't let me finish.
Go for it.
All right. All right. All the founding fathers were old men.
False.
Thomas Jefferson was 33. James Madison was 25.
getting the hang of this
Alexander Hamilton was 21. John Hancock was 39. And who was the oldest?
George Washington.
George Washington.
Ben Franklin. He was 70.
At-
Ben
70?
Stanklin.
Yes.
Dude, he was old compared to the other
Yes. He spent a lot of time in France. Loved France.
guys. Yeah.
Wait, how old was he when he signed?
70. Okay.
So he was like the leader. He had to have been
Dude,
like
he
the
was-
ultimate.
he was-
like,
Hey, look.
He was the
well,
grandpa.
he was
knew
like
better than
Yoda.
that. Yeah,
he was
well.
Yoda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, that some kids running this.
Okay.
Hey,
Here it is.
props to Ben Franklin for living that long.
The U.S. gained full independence
the
on
day.
July 4th. Wrong again. The war didn't end till 1783 when the Treaty of Paris was signed. Independence was a process, not a single event. Did you know that?
That makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Did you know Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died on the same day?
I did know that.
And how many years was it after it was signed? 50.
50. Conspiracy.
You know what that means?
And you know what? What was
Kinda hoping
interesting?
you'd tell me.
John Adams and Thomas Jefferson were big rivals. And Thomas Jefferson died first. John Adams died second, right?
Dude, just like
But
Biggie
right
and Tupac.
before,
bro.
Stands to reason.
but just before John Adams died, his last words were, "Thomas Jefferson lives."
Yeah.
When actually, I think he'd already died. So
Oh, so he
that's a
didn't
myth,
Whoa, whoa,
big
whoa,
myth.
whoa. That was his final words?
Yeah.
God, I
pretty
feel like he
sad.
wasted it. he wasted it. And like on his way,
Jefferson lived.
that's not what I meant to say.
Wait, I take that back.
It's a lib.
All right. So myth number
It's actually
one.
the opposite. What John Adams was more liberal and progressive. He wanted bigger government. Jefferson wanted smaller government.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, John Adams.
That's homeschool, baby. That's
John
homeschool
Adams was
history
the-
right there.
The
Yeah,
precursor to the Federalist movement, which was larger government. Alexander Hamilton was the big one. Remember, they wrote the Federalist Papers.
Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, and then you had
He
which
wrote
is,
a
which is
play,
another
didn't he?
story about you don't know. I'm telling you, y'all got a lot to learn about American history.
Yes, we do.
We're learning right now, Pop.
Yeah.
What do you think
Well,
we're doing
I
this
don't know. You keep
podcast
interrupting
for?
me. I can't get nothing out.
I know you
What
got
do you-
7 minutes left on your segment.
Okay. So did Washington actually chop down a cherry tree?
I'm gonna say
I'm going to say
yes.
absolutely. You're telling me
And he used them as
in his
dentures.
entire life, he never chopped down a cherry tree?
Come on, I wasn't
doubt
there.
that.
Were you there?
Nope.
No, and the story was completely invented by Mason Locke Weems. He was an early Washington biographer. It was meant to illustrate Washington's honesty, but it never happened.
Yeah.
I cannot tell a lie.
Because cherry trees don't exist.
Exactly.
No,
Everybody
they're all over
knows
the place in
cherries
Don't grow on trees.
they don't grow on trees. They don't grow on
Y'all
trees.
are-
Let's be honest.
Y'all need help. Okay, Washington had wooden teeth. Did you know that?
Yes.
Nah, he didn't.
Yes, he did. It was made out of the cherry tree wood.
Actually,
He had problems with terrible dental problems, but he said it made from human teeth. Could you imagine wearing
oh, gross.
somebody-
You got somebody else's teeth up in your
animal
mouth?
bone?
You got River Jones's teeth up in there.
hippopotamus, ivory, and metal, but never wood.
Dadgum, son. That grill was high dollar.
I bet it was.
in the wrong size.
What if they didn't?
They didn't trim them.
Washington came out with some tusks. He was like, "Boo."
Welcome to the new America.
Guess where I got these teeth?
Why do you think he was always?
These are American grown.
Why do you think you never see him smiling? Because of his teeth. He was always closed mouth.
That would have been an epic picture.
Yeah, it would have.
What he looked like the beer guy.
All right. He was a brilliant
Bitter beer.
battlefield general.
Say it again.
He was a brilliant battlefield general.
No, he was not.
Given the current state of questioning and answers, I'm going to say no, he wasn't.
That's
Yeah.
correct. He
Since
said,
all
as a
of
matter of
them
fact, he lost more battles than he won.
Yeah. Hey, just like Babe Ruth.
Hey, man.
Struck out more times.
It
than
was
You only
his-
got to do the right one.
It was his leadership and perseverance that kept his army together.
Well,
during
perseverance is really important.
It's even more important than perseverance.
hardship. Okay, I'm going to test you on this one.
You need.
He's gonna reword it.
perseverance.
He lived in the White
You're a
House.
Nuclear strike.
He lived in the White House.
White House wasn't built yet.
Okay. Well,
They built the
that's-
White House with the cherry tree.
So where did he live? where did he live when he was elected
Williamsburg,
president? No.
in
The
his own
United
house.
States of America is where he
Where he
lived.
lived.
New York City, remember?
New York City.
Thank you. Name that commercial. Free bag of coffee.
Whoa, that one's easy.
That's true.
Here's one I'll ask you. He wore a powdered wig. Did he?
Let's go with the trend. Everything's been myth. I'm gonna say no. He never wore a powdered wig,
He
Wow,
wore a
that's-
wig.
but it wasn't powdered.
Did he wear a wig?
No.
He did wear a wig.
No,
that was his hair?
It was his hair, and he
On the-
powdered it white because that was the style, and he pulled it back in a ponytail.
Okay, so he did wear a powdered wig.
No, he wore his
The wig
hair
itself was
with powder
powder.
on it. No, his hair was powder.
What is a wig?
Something that covers the head.
Boom,
AKA
powder.
Powder. Boom.
Powder wig. A wig with powder?
Semantics.
No.
Semantics.
It's semantics. Yeah, for real.
But hey, props to Washington that he was sporting man bun
Yeah.
before.
Okay.
Way back
Wait, did
in
he
the day.
braid it or was that
So
just...
my last thing here. This is going to be a test one for you. All founding fathers were Christian or devoutly religious.
That's going to be a no-go.
Yeah, that was no.
Yeah.
They were-
said many were deists and some had unorthodox beliefs. What was Jefferson known for?
Thomas Jefferson.
Remember the Jefferson Bible?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Took out all the miracles and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Benjamin Franklin believed in Creator but doubted organized religion.
Of course he did.
Yeah, 'cause
He liked
was
them
in-
ladies.
He did. He loved France. I'm telling you.
Ladies and STDs.
And George Washington rarely took communion and avoided religious talk in public, except when he got up and talked about God in his final address. Okay, they all agreed on the Constitution.
No.
That's right, they weren't.
No, they didn't.
No, but
That's what makes it a good constitution.
But see, that's the foundation of our country is that when you have two parties that oppose each other, they come together for the good of the people. That's what they did, the founding fathers. You had federalists
Many
like
ages,
Hamilton,
by the way.
wanted a strong central government. You had the anti-federalists like Patrick Henry. They pushed for the Bill of Rights. Some even refused to sign the document till the end when they finally came to an agreement. All right, they all signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. We know that's not true.
You already mentioned that. Are you on thread number 2?
Did you
Yeah.
start it over?
Okay, they were all politicians or lawyers.
I thought that was the last one that you just read.
No, that's the last series.
The last 40 minutes.
Am I still recording?
What? Yeah. No. What was the question again?
Still going.
They were all politicians or lawyers.
No.
No. Many were lawyers and politicians, but Franklin was what? A printer. Remember Poor Richard's Almanac? You know that, did you? And what was Samuel
Go ahead and
Adams,
put that on the
Brian?
tables. Put that on the table, bro.
Brewer.
You got it. And even farmers. All right. Now here's a good one for you. They founded a Christian nation. So, comments?
They founded a Christian nation.
Yeah.
Depends on how you know.
My Lord and Savior did.
They founded nothing.
All right. Well, they make reference to the Treaty of Tripoli, where it says in the writing, the treaty itself, the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. But that has been highly debated because the Treaty of Tripoli was written in Aramaic, and because of that, it was poorly translated. So we'll leave that one up there for people to research on their own. Paul Revere wrote alone.
54 seconds.
Okay.
No, he did not ride alone.
No. William Dawes and Samuel Prescott helped him. And there was a woman rider involved. Yeah. They were all wealthy elites.
I was going to say, they let them ride horses? I bet they were all over the road.
Yeah.
Was she riding the side saddle like a proper lady? The most
Georgie, watch this jump over a stump.
the most inefficient way to ride a horse. They're like, I think I'll sit like this.
Okay. So that is my contribution to today, the myths of the founding
That's great,
fathers.
Pop.
That's good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's good.
Very on theme.
Very much.
Mine is not on theme.
All right.
You want me to go or you want to go?
Yeah, you go.
All
You
right.
go, Bubs.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep it America,
Yes.
as we do. Okay. All right. So thanks to my brother and a little help from Grok here. There you go, Pop. Get that thing out. Ooh, buddy. But that'll hurt.
Let me point the non-lethal weapon away from me. Just gonna
Yeah, I took
turn it away.
I took
you
my
go. There we go.
clip
Make sure.
out and
We're gonna get all kinds of haters on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, we are.
YouTube.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing with your on the table? All right, chill out.
they're just props. All right, 33 normal things in the U.S. that freak everyone else out in the rest of the world.
Things that we do different.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Get it.
And I also pulled up 33 things that other countries do that we think are weird, so that we can. I probably won't read through all of these, and I'm not going to read everything this has to say. All right, saying "How are you" when we mean hello. Yeah.
Well, that's because most of the time when you say, how are you, you never give them a chance to respond to let them tell you how they really are.
I do
I think
wonder
we should
like
go back
where
to-
that came from and how that started. It would be an interesting
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, we need to just go hello.
It's more psychological.
I like hello. Let's just keep it
Yeah.
hello. I don't want to
Hello.
know about your problems. I don't want to tell you mine.
Sup?
Hi.
Sup? Hey.
Yeah, I could see that one. That to say it's like really weird or freak everyone out. It's, whatever. Smiling at strangers. I have heard this one. I smile at everyone. It's weird.
Except me.
Maybe half smile.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's even more so a southern thing than even. I mean, I've been in some places,
yeah,
and it's not.
New
but, like,
York.
down here in the South, I think it's definitely more of a smile thing.
yeah. New York and California.
Probably
no.
no smile.
No,
Probably not a
they're-
lot of
they're
smiling
just-
today.
No. Wah, wah, wah. You got that button?
Where's that at? Where's that at? All right. Flying flags everywhere. Yeah, buddy. That's a very American thing. I got to be honest with you. You know, it's actually so American that even people that aren't from here fly their flags. Like the little Puerto Rican flags in the cars. And yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen like, I mean, obviously, you've got Jewish flags in certain neighborhoods, Greece flags. People from, if you're Greek, man, Greek.
You got to be proud of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get
Yeah,
it.
that's cool.
But to say that it's weird in other parts of the world, that's weird.
Yeah.
You think you would fly your flag?
There are a lot. Now, granted, the only place I've been in England was London. It is it's the capital. It's the main place. There was a lot of British flags there.
Yeah.
But it was also London. So maybe like in other parts of the country.
Yeah, throughout the rest
it's
of the
not
yeah.
as,
Yeah.
Pompey.
Daddy, you paying attention or watching cat videos?
I'm paying plenty attention. Keep going.
Playing attention. Rarely taking vacation. All right. So in most countries, the U.S., outside the U.S., vacation time is highly utilized. It's a way to get away from work for a few weeks. That's pretty awesome. I wish we did that more here in America.
So in other places they do what instead of? Oh, we're saying
they take-
Americans rarely take vacation.
Right.
I got you. Yeah.
In
I
the
agree.
grand scheme, yeah.
It-
I mean,
yeah.
it takes a while for me to go on vacation. Who am I kidding? No, it doesn't. I enjoy my vacations, but like Americans are all about 50, 60 hours a week. Well, that's capitalism right there.
Well, when they do go, they probably don't go as long as other places. Do they take longer times? I mean, I think the
They take
most I've
even
ever taken
months.
is like 10 days.
And they take like months.
Months off.
That's
See,
what they
that's
think.
cool.
You know who doesn't? Guaranteed.
Us.
A lot of China. Let's be
No,
honest.
This is true. They're cranking stuff out left and right.
Yeah. Okay, this one's pretty hysterical. Drinking from red Solo cups.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's definitely a Southern thing.
yeah, that's some barbecue,
Red Solo
frat
cup.
boy, American stuff. We should have gotten some red Solo
Yeah,
cups.
what are you playing beer pong with if you don't have red solos?
Am I right? Getting free refills.
I love this one.
Americans love their free refills.
Dang right we do.
Foreigners, on the other hand, aren't even familiar with the concept. In most other countries, when you buy a drink, I think that's a typo.
What about like
for a single
free
cup.
refills, but they're not limited? I mean, they're limited free refills. Is that the same thing?
No. Most of the time when you buy a drink, it's just the one
The
drink.
drink. Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Which also means why Americans are insanely huge
Yeah.
because the Cokes are unlimited. However, I will say this. When you're charging me $4 to $6 for a fountain drink that costs like 10 cents, I'm going to need free refills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you just kick over your fan? Yep. Cool.
All right.
It also quit working.
This one I don't quite understand. Having boring currency. Okay, well, I guess I gotta get it because our currency's pretty dull.
It is dull. Yeah, no colors.
Yeah, you see some other stuff and it looks like Monopoly money.
Yeah,
You're
it
like,
looks- yeah.
and everyone always wants to collect like a coin from where they came from. Like, I'm gonna keep
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like the paper money from other countries is kind of cool, but like for us, it looks fake because
Yeah.
we're not used to all of that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Carrying confusing coins.
I would like to go back to where we're carrying gold.
Well, they stopped printing the penny. You heard that, right?
I heard that. Well, I mean, it's not like we're hurting for how many pennies are in circulation.
Well, it
bro.
costs more to print a penny than it's actually worth.
Right, right.
6 cents to print 1 penny.
Good night.
So if we were to trade it, technically they're 6 cent pieces, right?
Listen, hey, I'll give you a deal for every penny I turn in. You give me a nickel.
Yeah, I'll give you a deal.
Deal, bro.
That's a deal. I'm telling you what.
Think about it, though.
I'll give you
Nickel.
3 for 10.
Think about it. The second they quit printing them, making them, what's going to happen? People
They
are gonna
won't make 'em.
People are going to start hoarding them, and then all of a sudden they won't have them, and then the value's going to go up.
Penny hoarders.
I'm telling you.
Ah, ain't nothing worse than a penny hoarder.
Dude, I bet there are mountains of pennies in landfills because you know everybody throws that stuff away.
Yeah. Vacuum, everything.
Yep.
Penny saved is a penny earned, as Ben Franklin used to say.
Did he say that, or is that another myth or lie?
Did he die poor?
A lot of them died poor.
Yeah.
They didn't even have pennies.
They didn't have pennies yet.
Having 24-hour restaurants is apparently a weird thing, which I appreciate. I appreciate a 24-hour restaurant. I don't go
Absolutely.
to them. In fact, I often ask, why are they open?
Waffle House is the only place that needs to be open 24
Right,
hours,
right.
I'll say. Because you need at least one place in your town.
You know, in Demolition Man, where Taco Bell and, did you know in
Yeah.
other parts of they made 2 iterations of that. One is Pizza Hut and one is Taco Bell.
And they use Taco
Pizza
Bell for the
Hut was
movie?
more relevant in other parts of the world. So they actually reshot it. I was watching it and I was like, hold on a second. Is this a Mandela effect? Which Dad still doesn't know what a Mandela effect is.
He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Mandela.
Got it. Mandela. Yeah, but it's a they made 2 versions of it because Pizza Hut was more relevant in other places.
But I wonder, is there a 24/7 Pizza Hut somewhere?
Well, I was gonna say, like,
That'd be cool.
if that were to happen in Demolition Man, Waffle House definitely would have been
Oh, no doubt.
the sole survivor.
If that had been made in the South, there's only one place.
Yeah,
It's Waffle House.
It would have been King Bert,
Yeah.
Bert's Chili.
Yeah. Waffle House, and they'd have had those seashells
Oh, that was
in the
funny.
Waffle House bathroom.
Yeah, which no one knows how to use. That's what I love about that. There's I've got a little blood on my butt. That's not how you use the shells.
My butt's bleeding, Bert.
Bert. Brian's got the coffee over there. Oh, sorry. My leg's bleeding, Bert.
Seashells are a little rough.
Carding people who are obviously under 21.
So they're saying that that's weird to card.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Who are obviously not
Right,
under
like
21.
carding dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to have to say that's because, we
Because a 16-year-old could smoke a pack and look like
Lia-
he's 21.
well, and liability,
Extra
too many
layer.
too many stupid people didn't card people when they should have when it was obvious to do that. So now, liability, they have to card everybody.
Well, I think I've also seen some systems where they have to put in the birth date of.
Yeah, so now you
So
have,
it's everyone. Every
Sure.
item you sell is like, oh, it went to this person.
yeah, just so that they can cover their butt.
Yeah, or they're data mining.
So apparently you're not hot anymore, Pop, because
Yeah,
you put
you
your
just
jacket
threw it
on.
on. I know
If
that.
I'm going to be hot, I'm going to look good.
I
There you
know
go.
that ain't. What happened to the look good part? I know that ain't linen. I don't have that one.
No, I don't think so.
Wait,
Shocker.
no, I don't.
It's in a different bank.
Yeah, well, you'll live.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's kind of speed through these. I'm just going to read a couple. Having cheerleaders at sports games, which I think is kind of dumb, to be honest with you. Getting coffee to go. That's interesting because I've been in that business, and I've heard several people online talk about how not sitting down to drink your coffee is strange.
Yeah. So that's two different things. That's like, because in other places, you sit down to drink your coffee, you take the time, but the American mindset is constantly on the go. So you got to get it to go. I like to do both. I like to sit and enjoy the coffee, but then if I'm not done with it, but I got to get up and go, put it in a to-go cup.
That's right. I mean,
And I
paid
definitely
for it, I'm gonna
want-
take it.
Free refills with my coffee.
Yeah.
If I got black coffee, you know.
Right.
I'm not talking free refills on a frap or something that
Right.
costs a bunch of money to make, but the black coffee.
I don't agree that free refills extend to like a poured method or a prepared method, like doing a pour over.
Right. There's a lot more. Yeah. Is that because of the work that's put into it?
Right.
And also, I mean, you're also using more beans for those kinds of methods too, right? Aren't you?
It depends.
Okay.
Not necessarily, but it depends.
I always feel like when I'm making a different, I'm using more beans in like my drip method, I can get away with not quite as much. I don't know, or that it makes more coffee to the beanage.
What's this got to do with July 4th?
America.
What do your comments have to do with our conversation?
Having
More
drive-throughs
important. Yeah.
is apparently a weird one. I
Drive-through, yeah.
appreciate that. I appreciate drive-throughs.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't want to see people sometimes. Always having the AC running. Well, they don't live in Florida. That's their problem.
True that. You live down
Jesus.
here? Dude.
I mean, I do feel like having the AC constantly on has kind of made me a little weak in that aspect. Because the more time you spend outside, the more it's like, okay, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's very difficult to acclimate to the heat.
You got a
once
problem? You got a problem?
What?
You looking at
Listen,
my hair?
George,
You got to.
you're way past your prime, okay?
How are them hippopotamus teeth doing? You looking at my hair? What you looking at?
This is what happens when no one comes prepared.
Okay, shopping in stores, shopping at pharmacies that are mini shopping malls, which is like a Target or a Publix or whatever.
Oh.
Pharmacies. Okay. Eating supersized portions. That's America all day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dining with over-attentive servers. That's interesting.
The ones
So
that
they-
want to have your
I like
your
it.
water filled every 5 seconds.
No, but I don't want it to go dry.
I don't need you talking to me. I just
Yeah.
need you to get me my food and keep my drink refilled. That doesn't mean I'm fine with like nice, quick conversation. Hey,
Right.
everything going well, blah blah blah. But we don't need to have a conversation. You've had those servers that will like sit at your
Yeah, sit
squat
in
at
the
your
booth.
table
It's
and be
like,
like, hey,
I don't know you.
like, no,
A
sorry.
good server comes up and says, "Is there anything you need?" Gives a second, and then leaves.
And then, yep.
The ones that come up there and you're like talking to somebody, and you're at the bottom of your glass, and all of a sudden you turn around and it's full again, and you're going, "Where did that happen?" And then before you leave, it's filled about 5 times in a row. Of course, we just sit there and drink it. No wonder we're so
Yeah,
full
I
all
like
the
that.
time. You like a lot of water?
That's my number one rule. Don't ever let my drink go empty.
He puts himself a $20 of ones on the table, and every
And every
time he
time-
looks at his glass and it's empty, he takes a one.
There goes that dollar, boy.
Well, you're going to get
All
your
right.
money's worth.
Getting constant water refills.
What did I tell you? I'm telling you.
I'll tell you the thing that bugs me the most is when even and my wife, love you, does this. It's like, I'll have a water with 3 limes, a lemon, and Mambo does this with an orange and cherry. I'm
Yes.
like, okay, you're
Yes.
making your own drink right
Yeah.
at this
Yes.
point.
The water was free.
It's free.
Oranges cost money.
Right. There's
Yeah.
all that stuff collectively cost money, and I guess
Then you got to squeeze it in there and get it all over your hands, and get it all over the table.
and the people that are across from you.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the
I've seen
shower. I
people where
needed
they'll
that one.
squeeze it. It doesn't even get in the glass. You're like, yeah. Love you, Mambo.
Yeah, love you, babe.
Love you, Virginia. I love that you do that. Putting ice in water. This, I've heard this.
That is a thing.
Yeah, Virginia
Yeah,
doesn't
or
put
in-
ice
or
in
in-
her water.
We had to
Ellen
ask
didn't
for
do that
extra
either.
ice every time Kristen would get a Coke when we were in England, in Ireland. We would, I'd have to ask for another glass of ice because if they did put ice in there, it was like 4 cubes. It'd be like clink, clink, clink.
Well, that's like when we ate yesterday at the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Would you like some more tea?" I'm like, "Yes." And I take a mixture of tea and water.
Mm-hmm.
So when she took it, it was probably 1.5 inches of ice, right? So it comes back, the ice on top is like less than 1 inch. So she filled it with water and ice, no ice. I mean, why don't they fill it up with ice and then pour it? That way you don't ever have to worry about not having enough ice.
I will say there's a balance though. You get too much ice. Like, here's my beef with Sonic. Okay, I always ask easy ice. Number one, they use the Sonic ice,
Yeah.
That's
which
good.
is a
That's-
crap
which is a-
version of ice.
which
I
is
like ice.
powder.
That's
If
good.
you
I
wanna
love
eat it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to eat it, but I don't want to eat it. I want drink. If you fill up the thing full of ice, you like get an eyedropper, boop, and it goes all the way up to the top. And that's how much drink you
That's
get.
how much money they make. And they're like, you want a larger size?
Yeah.
Right.
You get
Oh,
2
yeah.
more ounces.
Right. So I'm like easy ice, but then they don't put enough, and then it's all watered down. Yeah. There's a balance, man.
There is. Capitalism.
Yeah.
Make that money.
Commies in their Sonic ice.
Offering so many choices, food menu wise. Or
Okay.
really anything.
If you look at, for instance, Pounders, which we do not have here as a sponsor,
Not
they
yet.
have a very simple menu,
Yep.
but it is packed all the time.
yeah.
Yep. And they do it well.
Well, and
Yes.
what they do,
Yes,
they do it well.
And Chick-fil-A.
And
Chick-fil-A,
which goes to my saying, do
a penny saved is a penny.
do the little things well. That's my quote. That's you can say that was from me.
Dan
Do the little
Bates
things-
quote,
Thank you
do
very
the little
much.
things well.
Do the little
AKA
things
George
well.
Washington.
Hey,
Yeah, yeah.
those things in which you do that are small, do them well.
Do them well.
All right, next time.
No, that was a good quote. I like that.
That was
Yeah,
good.
Right. We'll quit making fun of it.
Hashtag poor Richards.
Going big with tips. I'm just going to read something
Look.
here. What?
Christians should be the best tippers. Period.
Christians should be the best tippers.
That's a song right there.
If I ever heard one. You can tell Dad's getting hot when he gets this little river of sweat right there in his little lip dimple.
Shut up.
There's a name for that.
Lips wet.
No, that little curvature right there.
Yeah.
Continue. I'm
Lip
gonna find it.
curvature.
I was like, is this important enough to Google? Yep. And what words are you going to use? Yeah, tips. I think it's getting out of hand. The tip culture is getting out of hand. Giving away our credit cards. Okay.
Yeah, that's like when you go to a restaurant and they say you're going to charge it. You give it to them, they take it away.
I found it. It's called the Filtrum.
That's
like Dr. Spelled like Dr. Phil. The Filtrum.
Kind of
You got some Filtrum sweat.
that sounds so gross.
It does.
I got
Bro,
some
your Filtrum sweat.
I got a lot of sweat
Well,
running down
what's
my
the skin?
Filtrum.
What's the skin on your elbow?
That's called a weenus.
It is. You ever had your Filtrum touch your weenus?
How about the little thing that dangles in your mouth?
That's a uvula.
Yes. How you like to use that one?
To touch your weenus? Not gonna happen.
You got issues.
Not gonna happen, Captain. Having lawyers that advertise. That's everywhere.
Oh,
That's
pharmaceutical
crazy.
companies and lawyers are the worst.
Yeah. Next one is
I will return your
prescription
call.
drugs. Wearing
Yeah.
pajamas in Publix. I hate
Oh
it.
my! Publix.
Or in public.
Well, I guess
Which is also in
It
public.
must
Did I
be
say
standard
Publix?
at Walmart.
Yeah, you said public.
Well, Walmart's the main one.
Yes.
seen 'em both.
I meant to
But no,
say
but
Publix.
that's accepted where at Walmart, not at Publix.
No. Publix is high class.
Yes.
PJs are not accepted anywhere, but most people that go to Walmart will wear their PJs.
Gym shorts, PJs, and morning. What do you call them? Loafer shoes. What do you call them?
Slippers.
Slippers. Yes.
The whole wearing the pajamas things, I feel like started.
I don't know about sports
when we were
shorts.
when we got out of high school and got into college. I remember seeing everybody at PJC wearing pajamas, and I'm like, bruh.
Hey, Ninja Turtle right here.
What?
Ninja Turtle pants?
The purple Ninja Turtle pants
Well-
you wore.
I had them, but I wore them.
You wore them all the time.
But are those
Not
were they pajamas?
Yeah, they were pajamas.
And I don't know what you're talking
Well,
about.
Ninja Turtles. I mean,
Whatever.
Kind of cool.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know about that. I'd have to
Okay.
go look through some
Whatever.
photos. I'm gonna need some photo proof of that. Drinking wine from a 3-liter bottle. Didn't know that.
Dang.
What in
Gum.
one sitting?
Deep frying everything.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh,
That's-
you've done
that's
that
American.
before.
Oh, county fairs.
Driving on wide roads.
Well, that's because our cars are bigger.
Yep.
Y-
All right.
Did y'all rent a car when you went to England, Pop? Or, oh no,
No,
y'all
we
rode
were
a
in a
bus.
bus.
I'm surprised.
All
that
the
bus
roads
fit
were
everywhere.
small over there.
Dude.
Yes, it was crazy.
Okay, this one's pretty hysterical, and I agree with.
Is he gonna do all
having
your script?
huge gaps in toilet doors? Their
Huge
gap between
gaps.
each
Oh,
the toilet when the
oh.
door closes.
Well, people need to know if somebody's in there.
No,
They don't.
They can look at
If
the
you
feet.
can see my dangle, you don't need to see it. You don't look.
so
There needs to be just like occupied, not occupied kind of thing.
Well, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
just check for feet.
Eating
it's a simple thing.
Grape
Oh, that-
flavored
yeah.
Skittles.
Huh?
Keeping eggs in the refrigerator, pronouncing the last letter of the alphabet as Z.
Yeah, everybody else says Zed. XYZ.
That's dumb.
Yeah,
That don't
it
make
is.
no
I like
sense.
Z.
All right, just a couple of
Keeping Z.
what Americans think. Eating with hands, I respect that. Squat toilets.
Yeah, so this
can
is
get behind
these
that.
are things that happen everywhere else,
Right.
not in America. That we're like, what?
Americans are like,
Yeah.
what? We don't do
Yeah,
that.
but we got squat stools though.
Kissing as a greeting.
Yeah, they do that in France. And
No
some of the-
tipping. Japan and South Korea. That's a great place to go.
How about like shaking hands?
Maybe.
No.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
If it's there, yeah.
Yeah.
Public bathing.
Hey,
Public
Of course-
bathing.
Of course, probably not everyone looks like an American there either. So
look over in I don't know, was it Italy where
that
they
for
have
real a
these
thing?
these stalls out in the middle of everywhere, and people just go up there and use the bathroom out in the open.
Really?
It's like a stall, yeah, and you walk up there and people, hey, you can wave at them and do your thing right there in front of them.
yeah.
Weird.
Siesta times, midday breaks.
Now I'm for that.
I'm all about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
siesta
that we should
time.
definitely institute that
American culture workforce needs siesta.
for sure.
We need to sign that into a
Yeah,
law.
yep, that needs to be a federal law.
No personal space, apparently. Close proximity everywhere. Which I saw this this reel
6
of
foot, buddy.
India. Like this train was just like it was hundreds of people on the platform. This train stops. Hundreds of people are trying to pour out. It's like a river of
They're like,
people leaving, and it's like it's not about where trying to get on the plane. The people will push you onto the train. And people will just eventually just kind of flow you into
They're like
the,
lemmings.
to the train. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Golly,
So-
so many people.
So what about like
Um,
what about these protesters that walk out in the interstate to stop traffic so that they can flood the interstate with all these protesters? If the guy got run over, would you have a problem with
Are
that?
you talking about close
Dad,
proximity?
Why are you bringing up that when we're
We're
talking about
close.
other
Are you talking about
countries?
close proximity here? You want to shut? You want to shift? We can shift. I like where you're going.
Well, obviously some people don't.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. Eating insects. Late dinners. I respect late dinners.
Wait. Go back to the insects. Didn't you just eat one the other day?
I ate a bug. Yeah, VBS.
Oh,
What,
yeah.
Y'all short on food? Oh,
No.
it was a Bill Gates celebration
They got a. They raised enough money,
to buy a locust or a
and
crickets.
yeah, I ate a bug.
That's nice.
did you season? Did
Yeah,
you
that's what
season
happened
it?
to your
It was
hair.
gross. It was like it was already. It was
Did
like
you eat
dry
the whole
roasted,
thing?
Yeah.
Dry roasted cricket.
Yeah.
It was just tasted like burnt.
Sorry, I ain't gonna do that.
Did you like crunch, crunch, swallow, or?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Hey, if I was in special forces, maybe, but nuh-uh.
Yeah.
They got
something like
MREs.
that.
Late dinners. I'm all about that. Paying for public toilets. I would do this.
We did it in England.
I would pay for a nice, clean toilet.
That's debatable.
I also have another business idea in my head for that as well.
Like-
Subscriptions. You know, like a box that you just plant in the middle, like around the city, and you have subscription cards, and you pay to use it, but it's always clean,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it ought to be
air conditioned.
1 token for number 1 and 2 tokens for number 2.
Ooh,
Man, you can make some serious bucks with that.
yeah. Fermented foods, removing shoes indoors.
Well, what's wrong with fermented foods?
Like kimchi. I mean, we do
Yeah,
have some
kefir.
fermented foods.
I mean, it's a big thing over here.
I mean, it's a growing thing. Bowing instead of shaking hands. We could do more of
No,
that.
I don't do that.
We could do that more.
I wouldn't mind bowing.
Not America.
I
Uh-uh.
wouldn't mind bowing.
I don't bow.
I don't trust a man that don't shake
I don't
my
bow,
hand.
buddy. That's right.
Public nudity in saunas.
No, that's a little weird.
No ice in drinks. The metric system.
So you boys never grew up
Driving
in a
on the
spa.
left-hand side of the road.
Y'all never had a spa where men walked around buck naked in there in a steam room.
What level of income were you at where you were at spas?
Guaranteed it wasn't a good spa.
Yeah, if I'm in a room hot and sweaty with a
No,
bunch of men,
no.
it ain't a good situation.
There was a gym
Sounds
that
like
had
a
a
POW
hot
camp.
tub, it had a steam room, and it had a sauna, buddy. And you could do a workout in all 3 of them, buddy.
Not smiling at strangers. Spitting in public.
How come he's
slurping
getting more time than
noodles. I'm rapping.
Oh.
Milk and tea.
I don't do that. That's what they do in England.
Wearing surgical mask.
Yeah.
Toasting rituals.
Yeah, we got to do the surgical mask thing during COVID. Yeah, it's a no-go.
Apparently,
But why do people? I could see it in a hospital if you have a low immune system. But why ride around town in your car with a mask on? That's one I don't figure.
that's called a statement piece.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Living with extended family, multi-generational housing,
Oh my gosh, you can talk
Yeah.
about that one all day, couldn't you?
right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Street
Matter of
food
fact, you ought
culture.
to be like, what is it like living with the mother-in-law?
Yeah.
See, that could be a whole different session.
I mean,
but
there
in
is
your case, you're really in a good place.
I can write a great book.
Yeah.
There is something to be said. I do think that there are other cultures that take better care of their, aging family members than Americans do overall in general.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
I'm
why
not
I have
necessarily
long-term care.
against. I'm not necessarily against like nursing homes and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
In as far as conceptual, like, but I think in general, a lot of people just put their parents and the elderly people in their family away, and they don't ever see them again. So, and other cultures tend to respect their elderly a lot more than American culture does. They see them as a bother as opposed to someone that should deserve their care.
Yeah.
And so I think we can get better at that as a country.
I think as we learn from each other.
Learn from each other. All right. So these are some American historical events that sound made up. Oh, hey, before we get to this,
Before we get to this,
You got a break?
Al, behind you, grab that box. We've got a different segment. So not only is today Flag Day, but this Sunday is Father's Day. Speaking of our founding father, got a little snack box gift to the old George Washington pop.
Whoa.
So open that up. Let's do an unboxing.
Whoa.
None of these are sponsors, but they could be. Reach out to us. We're currently wide open on sponsorship right now.
Just like, nice. Al,
Yeah, this is
you just learning how to drink. Oh.
Yep, snack box. Show us what's in it. Pull it all out, Pop. One at a time.
Yeah. Let's see. A lot of time. Let's see. Oh, double smoked beef sticks. Nice. Almonds.
Hey, not just any almonds. If you've
Lifesaver.
never had the wasabi soy sauce almonds,
not gonna
Lots of
happen.
chocolate Whoppers. And my favorite, too. I see you got the classic Walmart brand.
there's several different chocolates in there. Pull them all out, Pop. Let's see. So we got Lifesavers. This is for after you eat all that food and your breath stank.
Put the knife down.
You got that.
I got the plant-based oat chocolate bar with tart cherries, dark chocolate with almonds, and dark chocolate. Very good for the heart.
more
Whoppers,
you
of
eat,
course,
more
always
you
a
fart.
staple.
Yep,
Crunchy
Whoppers.
Munch.
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
One serving
And
per
the
box.
Classic half and half light.
Hey, Arnold Palmer.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
son.
bud.
Very nice.
Nice.
All right.
I have good boys. I'm
There you
very
go.
blessed.
That was all Brian. It says firstborn.
Yeah, it does say
I know.
firstborn.
It does.
Al can take credit too.
All right, I'm in there.
Yeah, hey, these are good. Let me know what you think, Pop. Wasabi and soy
Ooh,
almonds.
that's hot.
It's not like hot. It's not like buffalo sauce hot,
Oh,
but
it's
it's
not?
like, woo, clean your sinuses. It's good.
Nice.
I like it.
Thank
I
you,
dig
buddy.
it. Dig it.
I
All right.
dig it.
Cool.
I dig it.
I could drag that out all year long.
All right. I'm going to share a couple of American historical events that sound made up,
America.
but they aren't. Okay, first one. I thought this one was hilarious. The U.S. at one time had an emperor, and everyone in San Francisco loved him. Here's the story. In 1859, a man named Joshua Abraham Norton,
I gotta keep knocking the darn fan over.
I don't see how that's possible. It should be far enough away from your feet.
Well, obviously
He's
it's not.
playing
I got
footsie with a
long
fan.
legs, all right.
All right. All right, here we go. So the U.S. had an emperor. Everyone in San Fran loved him. 1859, here we go. A man named Joshua Abraham Norton sent a proclamation to the San Francisco Bulletin where, at the peremptory request and desire of a large majority of the citizens of these United States, he declared himself Norton the First, Emperor of the United States of America. He then proceeded to list his occupation as emperor in the 1870 census, and even created his own currency for use in the imperial government of Norton the First. On the political side of his reign, Norton fired the governor of Virginia, abolished Congress, and dissolved the Union just before the Civil War. Of course, none of this meant a single thing, and Norton didn't have a hint of actual legal power. Yet, San Francisco locals loved this guy. Police saluted him wherever he passed by, and businesses put up special plaques to let the emperor know they accepted his money, but only from him, not from anybody else. And sometimes even offered their services to him for free. Ultimately, Norton perished destitute in 1880. And San Francisco gave him a grand funeral all the same. 30,000 people attended the ceremony of their beloved emperor. This sounds like that this senior adult homeless man that was half crazy. It was like, oh, you know old Emperor Norton.
He's no sweet old man. That's called respecting your
money
elders.
out of candy wrapper. She's like, here you go. Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
That's good. That's respecting your elders.
Yes. All right, here's another one. I thought this was funny too. Richard Nixon drunkenly ordered nuclear strikes on a regular basis. Listen to this. Richard Nixon Richard Nixon had a well-documented dependence on alcohol and prescription medication throughout his presidency, which could send him into explosive rages. That alone is dangerous in itself, but even more so when it's the man with access to the largest amount of nuclear weapons in the world. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger reportedly told his aides, if the president had his way, there would be a nuclear war each week. Shortly after his election, Nixon was overheard drunkenly talking to Kissinger about Vietnam. And he said, Henry, we've got to nuke them. A year later, when a U.S. spy plane was shot down by North Korea, he ordered a tactical strike in retaliation, going so far as to ask for target recommendations before Kissinger intervened and had everyone agree not to plan any further until Nixon sobered up the next morning.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
So what was Biden's excuse?
Cambodia.
Right.
Apparently, he lost his temper while talking about Cambodia over drinks still in the water. He got on the phone and said, bomb the out of them.
Well, they did in Cambodia, yeah.
So, yeah, and the same thing with, looks like, ironically, the day the administration came closest to actual nuclear war, Nixon was once again drunk, but this time to the point of stupor. He slept through a nuclear alert, and NSA advisor Alexander Haig had to pretend to consult him about what to do. Ultimately, Haig sent a stern letter to the USSR in the president's name, and the crisis was averted by the time Nixon woke up.
Oh
So the one time he had his chance, couldn't even take it.
Dang.
That's crazy, man. They should give him like, that sounds like they should give him a special phone. Like, here's your nuclear phone. It's like he goes to
like
some rando.
a red phone that goes
One
to
guy's job in Washington is to answer that phone.
Well,
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Oh, yeah, we'll get right on
let, me
that,
give
bro.
you, let me give you boys a piece of trivia about Alexander Haig. Back when not Nixon, but Reagan, remember when he was assassinated? They tried to assassinate him?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when he was rushed to the hospital, Alexander Haig stepped in and said, okay, I'm in charge, because he was Secretary of State.
Uh-huh.
Well, who's in charge when the
After the
president's
yeah,
not?
vice president.
Exactly. And who's after the vice president? Speaker of the House.
Speaker. Okay.
Yeah.
And
he
was
wasn't even
Secretary of Defense.
close.
Yeah.
But he
He's
was
like,
taking charge. I'm in charge.
I'm in charge.
That's called an alpha male.
He was. I'm telling
Legs
you.
spread and everything.
Fun.
He's like, I got an
Funny.
idea, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and assume position.
I'm in charge. I declare.
Where's
I
that?
declare presidency.
Where's that nuclear button?
What was that? Nuclear?
Nuclear.
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 Emphasis on the U.
You.
Nuclear.
All right, here we go. Here's another one. More than 20 people perished due to a flood of molasses in Boston. January 15th, 1919, just one day before Prohibition was passed in the U.S. one final tank of molasses,
The
which
Boston-
was intended for rum.
The
rum
Boston
manufacturing.
Molasses Party?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was shipped to Boston, Massachusetts. The 50-foot tall, 90-foot diameter tank was left to sit in the harbor as the dock workers took their lunch break at 12:30 p.m., with the only warning being a sound like a muffled roar. The tank burst apart. 14,000 tons of molasses flooded through the streets of Boston at about 35 miles an hour. It was taking out houses, buildings, and people
my
in the
gosh.
process.
So they had a molasses tsunami?
Yes, yes. Ultimately, 150 people were injured by the flood and 21 perished. A wagon driver who had been caught in the flow was later found frozen in his final pose, like a figure from the ashes of Pompeii. Oh, crazy.
Wow.
He was just,
Oh my gosh.
took days to clean the mess.
You couldn't even drink
Crazy.
after that either.
Yeah, no, it's,
yeah,
it's unusual.
When we were in Vicksburg again,
Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh.
they had these things on the ceiling, these that held that was all part of the decoration for a chandelier, and it was plaster, but it was made with horsehair, molasses, and marble dust,
Weird.
and they were still the originals. I mean, I don't know whatever happens with molasses, but it can get rock hard. So,
Yeah.
dude, freezing down or whatever it was,
Yeah.
I could understand that.
Jeez.
For sure. This is a cool story. Theodore Roosevelt got shot during a speech, then kept talking.
Bro.
The man
That's almost as
here.
cool as W catching a shoe.
That's actually the last one.
Is
on
it?
there.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So while on the campaign trail for a third term in 1912, Roosevelt, old Teddy boy Roosevelt,
You said titty. Good old titty.
passionately threw himself into developing a third-party platform against incumbent Republican William Howard Taft and Democrat favorite Woodrow Wilson. He was giving 15 to 20 speeches a day. Took a brief pause in Milwaukee to wave at the crowd before delivering another one. At that moment, John Schrack, who'd been following the campaign, saw his chance. He pulled out a revolver and shot Roosevelt in the chest. Luckily for Roosevelt, he had a tendency toward lengthy speeches, and he kept a copy of his speech in his breast pocket. It was a 50-page copy of that speech that he was about to give, as well as his steel glasses case. Both slowed the bullet down enough to keep the shot from becoming lethal. When Roosevelt realized he'd been hit, he coughed into his hand to check for blood. When there was none, he realized that he hadn't been hit in the heart or lungs. And in the most Teddy Roosevelt way possible, he addressed the crowd and said, "Friends, I shall ask you to be quiet as possible. I don't know whether you fully understand that I've just been shot, but it takes more than that to kill a bull moose." He spoke for another 55 minutes in his blood-soaked shirt, and then he was taken to the hospital immediately upon finishing, where he stayed for 8 days, recovered from the shot with no ill effects, but ultimately he lost the election to Woodrow Wilson. Dude, talk about a man there,
Dude.
Look,
taking the hit.
Hey.
Hey, I don't know if you guys realize this, but I've been shot.
Woodrow
So I'm
Wilson.
going to go talk for another hour.
Woodrow Wilson was
I
one
bet
of the
Trump would
worst
be like,
ever.
well, I got shot in the ear.
Yeah.
You don't
That
even
would've been
know.
my first thing. That would have been my first. I was like, dude, skimmed your ear, bro. Skimmed your ear. Teddy took one in the chest like a man.
Like a bull. What is it? What was it?
Bull moose.
Bull moose. What you got, Pop?
Guess how old he was when he died?
Who? Who are we talking about?
Teddy Roosevelt,
Teddy.
50.
65.
60. Died of a heart attack.
There it comes.
Who's the only president with a Medal of Honor?
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor.
Yes.
I'll go with George Washington.
I'll give you a hint. We're just talking about him.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yes.
Teddy Flippity
And if
Roosevelt.
you remember your history, which probably y'all don't, it was his charge up San Juan Hill.
Old San Juan.
Old
I remember San Juan.
San Juan.
Yep.
San Juan.
Medal
I
of
remember
Honor.
like it was yesterday.
Teddy
about
Roosevelt, one of our
Newton.
greatest.
All right. Another one. Government poisoned alcohol supplies to curb bootleggers during the old Prohibition. It was a great, that definitely worked.
Yeah.
The U.S. forbade any production or distribution of alcohol during the Prohibition. That, of course, didn't stop anyone from drinking.
No.
The public turned instead to speakeasies and rum runners for their booze. Those looking for a more active role in illegal production would often make their own spirits by distilling industrial alcohol to something kind of drinkable.
Ooh-wee.
Dude, have y'all ever tasted moonshine? Oh my gosh, dude, you could fuel your
Yeah,
car
it's
with that
like
stuff.
paint thinner.
It's diesel fuel. Desperate to stop the rampant lawbreaking and rising power of the mafia and other crime syndicates using the alcohol ban to their advantage, law enforcement and regulators decided to take desperate measures. They mandated that toxic chemicals be added in the production of industrial alcohols in an attempt to cut off bootlegging at the source.
Side note, because you mentioned mafia, in I think it was World War II, the CIA, they were having problems infiltrating, Italy or something like that against the Germans or whatever. And I think it was the CIA. I'm going to botch this story. I heard it on another podcast.
CIA wasn't formed until after World War II.
Okay, so
Okay, Mr.
whatever
History
government
dude.
whatever government went to New York.
It was called the OSS, probably.
Okay, the OSS.
Operation Special Spies.
Special Spies. Operation Special Spies went to
While Bill Donovan started it.
Oh, Pecos Bill Donovan.
I'm just telling you the truth, son. It's fact.
Dad
Thank you,
is a
Google.
random like those toilet books of random knowledge.
Yeah.
He's one. It just speaks out.
By the way, I have one of
He
those.
has one, and I read it.
Will Donovan. All right. Wild
Okay.
Bill Donovan.
I'm just
They
fact
went
checking
to
you.
New York and went to the the mafia in the city. It says, "You guys know more about that over there. How can we get them to help us combat the Germans over there?" And so they helped them send information to the troops and the actual Italian mob over there. I think it's the Italian mob. And basically they were able to keep or preserve a specific strategic location because of the mob.
Yeah, the mafia over here helped them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's pretty neat. That'd be a cool movie.
Yeah, it would. Despite the despite the poisons and the alcohols, all right, people continue to make and drink from their illegal distilleries. I bet some of those toxic chemicals made that pile of hooch real good.
Hey, my next topic is going to be on U.S. collaboration with crime syndicates.
That'd
Yes, it's going to be
Tune
good.
in.
However, on New Year's Day, 1927, 41 people died in a New York hospital as a direct result of the government's poison campaign.
Were they alcoholics?
Wasn't the first time the government did crazy stuff. MK Ultra.
Maybe they were trying to thin the herd. They're like,
Yeah.
we got too many people out here.
Well-
We're gonna take some of them out.
That
Gotta
was
get rid
a
of
crappy
them.
attempt because only 41. Only 41 of those that
Strategic 41.
strategery. Nuclear strategery 41. That's her name. All right, and then of course the last one, the one that Al already talked about, the journalist that threw his shoe at George W. Bush.
But he can move too. Let me tell you.
GW. Hey. hey. Nuclear. I got that nuclear reflexes.
Or was that? Now watch this swing. Remember that one on the golf course? Something very.
So in
What's
08,
what's the journalist's name? Do you know it?
I think so. It's
Okay.
on here.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I feel like
that's going to be
that's-
fun. In 2008, 5 weeks before Barack Obama took office,
Oh, Lord.
President George W. Bush took a surprise visit to Iraq to sign a pact for U.S. troops to leave the country. Blah blah blah. He's meeting with somebody during the conference. Here we go. Journalist Muntadar al-Zaidi
Yeah, buddy.
shouted, "This is a goodbye from the Iraq people, dog," and threw his shoe at Bush's head.
This is a goodbye from the people.
Bush strategically dodged out of the way, but another shoe came at him as Zaidi yelled, "This is for the widows and orphans and all those killed in Iraq." Zaidi was tackled to the ground immediately after the incident, and Bush, having dodged both shoes successfully, was unharmed. It still would have been funny if he'd have been talking. It just went and just fell off. He was like, it just kept on talking.
That would have been an attempted assassination right there, buddy.
Well, I mean, it took 2 shoes to take him down. It should have been down the first one.
Yeah, well, he went
But
big
everyone
for it.
around him was like, "Did he just throw a shoe? He just threw a shoe."
Was that a shoe?
Oh, there's a second shoe.
I mean, obviously it was
There's
symbolic.
a second shooter.
But
It says, as Zaidi was escorted out, the president quipped, "If you want the facts, it's a size 10 shoe he threw." Did it really? It was. Yeah, so he said that. Later, it was determined that the shoe throwing was more of a symbolic attack, than one meant to cause harm.
Yeah.
Sure it was.
Yeah.
There were nails in it.
Yeah. Apparently, it's a major sign of contempt in Arab culture, throwing shoes.
Well, if it was John Wayne, it would have been a size 9.
Yeah. Wait, John Wayne wore a size 9? Oh, you just destroyed that man's legacy.
No.
He's like 8 foot tall.
Little foot. I know it. It's the weirdest thing I've ever
Oh
seen.
my God.
Barely stand.
What? How does he stay?
Why do you explain the way he walked?
Joker
He
had-
shuffled everywhere, remember?
He had to wear a size 14 boot just to stay upright. John Wayne had a size 9 baby feet.
He walked like he had a watermelon between his legs.
Golly. Oh, man. Yep. That's it, man. That's the content. Well, everybody, that's what you get when, all or none of us are 100% prepared.
It's
Just
a
bunch of
size
random
10.
stuff. If you want the facts, it was a size 10 he threw. Watch this.
You just got bushed.
I used my nuclear reflexes and strategery. I think that's a wrap.